Hello fellow YouTubers, Bear Prepper here. Today we're going to make Bear's salsa. So first thing we're going to do here is we are going to chop the tomatoes. Don't look at these over here, I'll show those in a minute. So I'm using my Victorio strainer here. I've got, and as you can see, the salsa screen has bigger holes. And that's ordered as an accessory. I also have the Victorio motor on here. The last time I used this, I had some difficulty using it, and I started looking at the mechanics of it and found that I was missing the C-ring. So I ordered the C-ring, but for today I went ahead and I've monkey rigged it. And I'll show you that after I'm done, after I clean it up. And so you want to angle this down into your bowl. Now they tell you do not run this without vegetables or fruit in it. So let's get that started. And the hopper, use your hopper. Fill it up. Don't just put one or two in there. And I've got my Romas cut in half and a few of my homegrown ones. And we are going to get started. Let's see how this works. Now, sometimes I use the plunger like this, and sometimes I use it the other way. They say to use it like this. I don't have luck using it like that. I have better luck using it like that. And as you see, it's coming out. And all your scraps will come out this end. And because these are Romas, there won't be a lot of scraps. So as you can see, because of the bigger holes, it's coming out chunkier than if you were doing sauce or puree. As my daughter would say, boy, are you lucky you didn't have the camera on. I was so intent on how easy this was to do that I didn't notice my bowl overflowed. Salsa on the floor, probably lost 2 tomatoes. Once you get them all done, there's still a bunch of tomatoes in there. And as you see, we have all our scraps here. So I'm going to take a knife and I'm just going to scrape some of these out. As you see, 50 tomatoes. That's it. That's the scraps. So we're going to pour them back in, because they're a little juicy still. Turn it back on. Process them one more time. See if we get any juice. I see some juice coming out. I see some tomatoes coming out. Alright. And there we go. Now look how much scraps we have coming out. So we take our knife and we scrape them out. This is after the second run through. What? About a tablespoon of scraps? Everything else went through. Scrape this off. Slide my bowl back. Catch all that good stuff. We're just going to scrape it off. A lot of that is skins, so I'm not getting it all. I'm just scraping what comes off. Because when you do that last run through with the skins, it plugs up all your holes. Because there's not enough moisture. So what I end up doing to make it work is this groove where the C-clip goes. I took safety wire, wrapped it around, kind of bent it over a little bit. And then I took a washer. I just went to the store and tried to find one that would fit. And I set it on there because all you're trying to do is make sure the spring doesn't push through. Worked like a charm, as you saw. So this is my family grain mill. I love my family grain mill. And today we're going to use it to do the prep work for our salsa. So let's show you how this works. There's a plunger here. Just turn it on. Drop them in. So as you can see, it made really fast work of it. There's a lot of juice in here. You can use that for your vegetable smoothies or it's really good in one of your, as a stock for one of your soups. I highly recommend my Family Living grain mill. It does wheat. I have a oat roller, a meat grinder. The slicer here comes with a slicer and 2 different shredding discs. This is the coarse shredding disc. And as you can see, it handles onions just fine. Even jalapenos turn out nice. Now with your jalapenos, if you don't want it really spicy, take the seeds and the innards out. If you do, go ahead and just cut the cap off and run them through. A lot easier to do that, but I'm not a spicy girl. Cucumbers from my garden this week. I love these cucumbers. They're called little bites. They get as big or as small as you want, and the seeds are almost non-existent in them. And as you see, it's shredded up really nice. I know you're thinking salsa with cucumber? You gotta try it. Plus, cucumbers are a lot cheaper than everything else. So now we're gonna make our salsa. We're gonna take and put our tomato puree in a pan. We're gonna add our onions and our green peppers. And I did drain my green peppers. We're gonna add our cucumbers. So I used 50 tomatoes, 10 green peppers, 8 cucumbers, 5 onions, and this is about 18 jalapenos. I'm only going to add about 4 cups. And we'll try that before we go and add more. So we're going to mix it up really good. As you can see, it's really chunky. Now we're going to add 1 cup of red wine vinegar or balsamic vinegar and 1/2 cup of white vinegar. 3 teaspoons of cumin ground. And don't worry about them being level. Cumin is amazing, and the cucumbers are going to really absorb it. 2 teaspoons of black pepper. 2 tablespoons of salt. I know that seems like a lot, but that's a lot of salsa. You have dried oregano, you want 2 tablespoons. If it's fresh, you want 3 or 4. And you're going to mix all that together. Look at that. A lot of people like cilantro in there. We have some people that just don't care for cilantro, so we're not adding it. And I almost forgot the most important ingredient for me. Garlic. You want about 6 cloves of garlic. So about 3 tablespoons if you're using the pre-cut, like I am. And we're going to get that, bring that up to a boil, and I'll be back. Alright, you've seen me do this many times before. We want to fill it to the 1/2 inch of the rim, which is about, whoops, that's about 1 inch. Nice and thick. Cook down so that the flavors meld. I use my dishwasher to sterilize the jars, and we're going to boiling water bath them. Now, because this is a thicker product, you want to make sure that you run your back end of your magnet through the jar, just to make sure you get any possible air pockets out. So you want to take a wet paper towel and go across your rims. Don't worry about the sides, just the rim. Take your magnet, grab your lid, place it down, and screw it on. Put it hand tight. If you have a lot of product in your water when you're done, you're not tightening your lids enough. And you're going to water bath them. You want to cover them with at least an inch or two of water, preferably 2. So any pot will do. You can use your pressure can or base. This in the bottom, or you can use a towel. Whenever you're taking the lid off something, lift it up and away from you. Now you can let this sit for 5 minutes to let the boiling stop. It's more of a safety measure than anything else, so you don't get boiling hot water on you. Take them out of your pressure canner and let them cool on the counter for 24 hours. Now a lot of people have been mentioning that they're not hearing the pops on their jars. Don't worry about it. Sometimes they pop, sometimes they don't. As long as when you take the band off, you can lift the jar. One of the nice things about this recipe is you don't need a pressure canner to do it. So there we go. Salsa and chips. Look how chunky that is. Really wonderful. Let's taste it. Mmm. Really good. Just a hint of sweetness. A little bit of spice. But still nice and chunky. Blessings.